Hello, my name is Jacques Chevalier. Welcome to Methods for Participatory Action Research. This short video illustrates process design, an approach to action inquiry that selects and combines the appropriate tools and adapts them to fit the situation and purpose at hand. When it comes to action inquiry involving humans, ready-made methodologies that can be applied to all settings are suspect. They are no substitute for sound judgment and planning that remains sensitive to context. The story that follows is about a major event that helped launch a 3-year animal health initiative in the province of Quebec. A few years ago, the pork farmers and the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food of Quebec funded a project to minimize the impact of a swine disease known as the porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome. Some 70 people representing all facets of the industry attended the first meeting, which lasted a full day. Small and large-scale pork producers, processors, government officials, and scientists sat around tables in a large room with plenty of space for people to move about. The event started with short PowerPoint presentations and an overview of key questions for the day. An interactive quiz on known disease statistics was also held using polling clickers to test responses. To avoid sharing tons of information for their own sake, and therefore death by PowerPoint as the expression goes, presenters focus on what was strictly needed to prepare for the discussions and debates that followed. Key documents were shared with participants prior to the event. This was followed by an exercise in sabotage, a tool from Module 5 in your handbook. Each participant had to write on a card a good way to make sure the disease would persist and even get worse, such as blaming others for the problem and doing nothing about it. People were then invited to circulate in the room and form teams around cards that showed similar ideas. This is the equivalent of sorting cards into piles, a technique called free list and pile sort. Each team was given a few minutes to prepare and briefly present their evil and absurd plan to other teams. An exercise in sabotage uses paradoxical psychology and humor to identify blind spots and old habits that may act as obstacles to effective problem solving. The next step was to shift the discussion to more positive thinking, using the same variant of free list and pile sort, which you can find in Module 2 of your handbook. Participants were given open space-time to circulate, talk to other people, and explore promising solutions to the disease. This took about 15 minutes. Each participant had to write one possible solution on a card using 2 or 3 words, with details on the back of the card, if needed. People then formed new teams around similar ideas by circulating and comparing cards. 5 teams emerged. Each team sat at a table and identified a note-taker and a presenter. They were then given about half an hour to develop their own proposal and add to it a symbol to represent the main idea it wanted to advance. Each team had to use a template to make sure their proposal addressed key questions such as who should be involved and first steps that would need to be taken. Also, participants had to bear in mind the obstacles to action evoked during the earlier sabotage exercise. The carousel or World Café came next. The technique is described in Module 5 of your handbook. Members of each team visited other teams in a clockwise direction. Note-takers and presenters remained at their table. 4 rounds of discussions followed, with short breaks between each round, breaks that are wisely recommended in the Pomodoro timer technique. Discussions in each round lasted about 20 minutes and were divided into 3 steps using what is known as the Ballant method. First, the presenter explains the team's proposal while visitors remain silent. Second, visitors ask questions for clarification. Third, visitors discuss the proposal amongst themselves while the presenter and note-taker remain silent and take note of the comments made. After the 4 rounds were over, each original team came back to its table with the task of revisiting its proposal based on the comments heard from others. The workshop ended with 5 brief presentations using clickers to poll all participants on their level of support for each proposal. The tool used, known as levels of support, uses a simple scale based on colloquial expressions of everyday life. It is described in Module 5 of your handbook. The event ended with a summary of areas where there seemed to be a consensus, questions that might deserve further discussion, and a few words about immediate follow-up actions.